I grabbed my hair dryer and I dried off the Bear. I went back and I added in the areas that I hadn't colored in before. So this is what I've got of the Bear. You can see a little bit of difference between the two different colors of tea water that I had. And then this is the Tree, which it's not picking up the variations in the color very much, like at all, but it's definitely different than the non-colored areas. So what I'm going to do with the coffee, this is the coffee, is I'm going to go back and I'm going to take one of the coffees. I don't know which one I was using where, but I'm just going to take one of them because they look about the same to me. I use both of them and they look pretty much the same. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to make it darker over my tree trunk. When I was looking for some more directions on how to do this, when I had thought about doing this, one of them, they did recommend using watercolor paper for this, but I was like, yeah, my kids probably don't have that, so I want to use things that they probably have. So I stuck with here, this is a mailing that I don't necessarily need. Again, check with mom and dad before you decide to use what you don't think they need anymore, okay? I doubt that they will care if you use their old coffee grounds and make some paint out of it. If it is instant coffee, make sure that you ask them, because that would be coffee that they then cannot drink. Okay? You can use an old tea bag too. I think what my problem is with it being so light the first time is that I have too much water. Not enough of the tea or the coffee. Either that, or maybe I just need to let it sit longer. That I am not positive, but here you can definitely tell that second layer of this is the coffee, of the coffee is definitely making it darker. Okay, one of the other ones, when I was looking to figure out how to do this, also suggested that yes, you're going to have to layer, but to use a hair dryer to kind of help speed things up so it would dry faster, so that way you could work faster at applying those layers to build up the color, which is what I did, but I didn't film me drying the paper that way because, well, it's loud, and yeah, figured you probably know how to use a hair dryer. I put it on one of the lower settings that I had, and then I set it on the floor, my kitchen floor, and I used my feet to help hold on to it, and made sure that as I was drying that I moved it all back and forth, that I didn't just hold it in one spot for too long, so that way nothing got hotter than anything else, because it is paper and you're adding heat to it, so you gotta be careful. Okay, so this does work. It requires, you know, more patience than maybe some of you necessarily, you know, maybe you want to spend on trying to get a painting to come together. I grabbed the other coffee, and I'm going to paint the ground again here with the other coffee. See if it comes out as, I mean, it's making it darker. It's definitely a lighter value, which is what I was going for. Remember, value is how dark or light the colors are. So it's definitely giving it, I definitely do have two values. I think I'm just going to have to layer the application of my colored water. So that's a second layer of the coffee one. Now the tea one definitely seemed to be darker to begin with. Sorry, you got my sleeve there. Okay, it just seemed to be darker to begin with. So I'm going to grab one of my teas. I'm going to go over. I definitely want his nose to be darker. Add a second layer. Ooh, is that coffee or is that tea? I think that's coffee. I want some. No, that was tea. The coffee ones are lighter. That was tea. Okay. See, and now I got myself all confused as to what I'm painting with. Okay. Second layer. I mean, this works. It's definitely coloring the paper. It's more of what we would call sepia tone colors, which are, sepia is a brown. If you have, depending on the filters on the phone that you have in the camera mode, you'll have one it's called sepia. It starts with an S. And it usually will change and give it kind of a, it's not kind of, it is. It will give it a brown colors, and it will be in more of a, instead of a black and white and gray scale, like when you change it to black and white, it will be in a brown scale. Pictures used to come that way. They would come in this sepia color. And so that's kind of a cool idea as well, is that sepia color look, that brown, and the varying scales of brown versus the varying shades of brown versus the varying shades of black. So it's kind of interesting too. Now, I just used regular old tea, so I don't know if maybe you use a different kind of tea, because tea kind of has this, they're usually brown, but they have kind of different shades of brown, different colors of brown. Some of them are more red brown than others. So if you have a different kind of tea versus just regular old brown tea, like if you have green tea or something, I don't know what color that would turn into. If you got some Kool-Aid and you're using some Kool-Aid, I don't know what color that would, obviously it would depend on the color of Kool-Aid, right? There you might have a whole variety of colors that you could use. I haven't tried that. I would definitely, if I was going to try the Kool-Aid, I would definitely just start with the powder, not add like the sugar and the water and make it like you were going to drink it. I would just go with the powder, because the sugar would probably get very sticky and maybe gum up what you're working on. I don't know, maybe the instant tea and the instant coffee would work better, but as you can see, it does work. It's just kind of playing with it and seeing how it goes. I'm going to keep letting these dry and applying more of my paint, water, and see how it goes, how it changes, how it progresses as I kind of add more things to it. And I will make sure to include some final pictures of what things look like when I post this into the Google Classroom. So that way you guys can kind of see what my finished results look like. But this is 2 layers of my tea. So that's 2 layers of tea on my bear there. And then my tree has 2 layers of coffee. So before I post the videos in the Google Classroom, I will take pictures of my final results and tell you how many layers and how many different times I went over stuff, okay? So I challenge you to try painting with something that we would normally drink, coffee, tea, maybe some Kool-Aid if you got that. just don't add the sugar, okay? Or the cream or anything like that. We don't want anything getting gross and yucky, okay? Tea or coffee, maybe Kool-Aid, okay? So I challenge you to see what you can come up with and share that with us.